Hello, welcome to part 2 of The Selfish Giant. Now, what happened last time in part 1 was, there's this garden. It was very beautiful, so children went there to play. But that garden was actually the garden of a giant who was away for 7 years while visiting Shrek. I mean, he was visiting the ogre, but he came back, and now he says, no, you cannot play in my garden because this garden is mine and only I can play in it. And then, so he locked out his garden with 2 planks of wood and a sign that said, keep out. Now, spring became summer and summer became fall and fall became winter and winter became spring again, yeah. And then everywhere filled with birds and blossoms except for the garden. Now, birds didn't want to sing there because no one would listen to their songs. Peaches didn't want to grow there because nobody would eat it. So, the selfish giant looked from his bed and was like, oh dang, I hope the summer and spring come soon, yeah? So, that's basically what happened. And let's see what happens next, shall we? I don't know why I did that accent. Shall we? Alright. Nice. One morning, the giant was lying in bed when he heard some lovely music. It sounded so sweet to his ears that he thought it was the king's musicians. But it was really a bluebird singing outside his window. It was so long since he had heard a bird sing in his garden that it seemed to him the most beautiful thing in the world. The selfish giant sat up and looked out the window. What do you think he saw? It was the most wonderful sight. The children had crept into the garden through a hole in the wall. The trees were so happy to have them back again that they had covered themselves with pink and white blossoms. The giant's heart melted as he looked out. How selfish I had been, he cried. Now I know why spring would not come. He was very sorry for what he had done. The giant crept downstairs and slowly opened the door. As he entered the garden, he saw that in one corner it was still winter. A little boy stood beneath a tree, stretching his arms up high to reach its high branches. The poor tree was still quite covered in frost, and although it bent its branches as low as it could, the boy was too small to climb them. The giant smiled at the little boy and lifted him gently into the tree. At once, the tree broke into bloom, and the birds perched on its branches and sang. The little boy smiled shyly at the giant. Does this mean we can play in your garden? Answered the giant. You and your friends may come play here whenever you wish. The giant took his great axe and opened the garden gate once more. From that day forward, the gate was never closed again. Every day, the children returned to play in their lovely place. They brought their friends and their sisters and their brothers. It truly became a place for all children. When the giant opened the gate to his garden, he opened his heart as well. He finally understood that was the children who made the garden a magical place. Being selfish and lonely had made the giant lonely, but when he learned to share, friends filled his garden and happiness filled his heart. Each afternoon, the giant could be seen laughing and playing games with the children. The trees continued to bloom and the birds sang in the gardens with all their hearts. Everyone lived happily ever after. The end. I hope that you liked the story. I also hope that you liked my accurate representation of a bird, although in the text it said I was a blue bird, but I drew a green bird, a dirty green bird at that, so... Shh, I never told you that. So, see you next time. Bye-bye. We'll meet again. Don't know where.